All right, so it's time. I have the pictures, I have the videos of the 2022 refreshed GMC Sierra lineup. Well, at least two of the lineup. Anyways, two models, lots of changes coming your way, so let's get going. All right, so if you follow my channel, you know I've been talking about the 2022 refreshed GMC Sierra lineup for months and all the things that we're projecting, and most of the things that we have been saying have come true, but I want to talk to you about them today. Now, what they did do is they released basically information on two of the trucks. The Denali Ultimate, fantastic new truck, well, fantastic variation, I should say. And as we talked about in my videos in the past, the 2022 refreshed AT4X, another awesome truck. And you know what? I'm a little excited. Being a Canadian, I had my fellow Canadian Will Arnett actually do the introduction of the truck. But regardless of all that, let's get diving in to what is new and what's changing for this 2022 refresh. But before we get too far into it, I just want to let you know towards the end of the video, I will be letting you know the starting price of every trim level from the Pro all the way up to the Denali Ultimate in American dollars, because I know the majority of my viewers are from the United States. And my Canadian friends, we can obviously convert, roughly what we think is going to be worth Canadian. But we'll be talking about that. But let's first and foremost talk about the exterior changes of this beautiful new refresh. And right off the bat, we can see it does have a much larger, much more pronounced grille than we'd seen in the past. It also has much more bold and bigger C-shaped, daytime driving lights, not to mention new headlights, which are now dual projector LEDs. And then way down below, we're seeing it has new fog lights, of course, LED fog lights, but they're pretty inconspicuous down low. They're not anywhere near as large or as up as high as they were in the previous generation. And then we have some new air curtains off the side as well. Now, when it comes to the Denalis and, other models, there's going to be some newer wheel options. Unfortunately, we didn't see all the options coming there, but there are going to be some new wheel options. And of course, I will always bring that to you as soon as I see that. And then as far as the actual colors, there's three new colors that are actually coming out as well. I've announced these to you earlier. The colors are the same as what I was saying, but there's a bit of a name change on them. So I'll list off the three color changes right now. And what I had originally called them was Dark Ash Metallic, Pauzinga Blue Metallic, and I think I call it Sand Dune Metallic, which is actually the same. But the colors they're calling them, and they are going to be the same, as Titanium Rush Metallic, Dynamic Blue Metallic, and Desert Sand Metallic. So there's three new colors coming as well. And that's pretty much the most that we're seeing as far as the exterior. The side pretty much remains the same. The rear pretty much remains the same for the most part. And even heading into the AT4X, it's not as defined. It doesn't have, a cut-up bumper like we're seeing on the current Chevy Silverado ZR2. But let's talk about the Denali Ultimate, and then we'll move our way over to the AT4X. And if you're enjoying this video, by the way, why don't you just stop, take a second, hit that subscribe button, and keep on watching, because I'm always going to be bringing you the newest news, tips, tricks, walk-arounds on everything GM truck related. Actually, no, let's talk about interior first, and then we'll move over to those trucks. And first and foremost, as expected, we are getting a lot of screens in front of us, just like we see on the current 2022 refreshed Chevy Silverado. So we're having a 13.4-inch massive color touchscreen. In front of the driver, we have a 12.3-inch configurable screen, which is nice because depending on how much information you want or don't want, you can really change that screen in front of the driver. And we're going back again, we're having a 15-inch heads-up display that'll go in front of the driver. Now, heading back over to the touchscreen, there's some really cool stuff coming along with this touchscreen. First and foremost, it has the Google integration now. So what's really cool about it is you'll have Google Maps built in. You can get apps from the Google Play Store right on there, but Apple users, fret not, because I am an Apple user myself. You are still able to use Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Those are going to be separate entities. I'm just talking about the actual screen itself. So when you get into your normal GMC Sierra, Chevy Silverado now, and you start up the truck and your screen has just GM icons basically on there, that's just going to be replaced with Google icons now, which I think is going to be way more intuitive, probably faster, easier to use. Not that ours isn't hard to use, but you know what I'm saying, right? So more Google integration, which I think is a great thing. Now, one of the things that some of you may think is a great thing and some of you may not think is a great thing is in relation to the shifter. Just like the Chevy Silverado, we are going to see the electric shifter. Now, from what I'm reading between the lines and what I'm kind of determining as I'm reading this, They haven't said if they are going to retain the column shift like they are in the Chevy Silverado. So in the Chevy Silverado, they are retaining the column shift for LT trim levels and below. If you don't have, or RSTs, if you have don't have bucket seats. So if you have bucket seats, you're automatically getting the console shift. But if you don't, you can have the option, or you're getting the column shift. I don't see an option right now, but they're only showing the high trim levels of having the option for a column shift, and there's not really much talk of it. However, from the SLE trims and above, you are going to get that big touch screen, all the screens I've talked about, and of course, we're going to be getting that electric shift. Whether you get a bench seat and you can avoid that electric shift, I do not know that yet. I will be letting you know as soon as I do find that out, of course. And what I will tell you too is the SLE Pro, which is your base trim level, which we used to call the SLE before, or pardon me, just to call the Sierra before. So the Sierra Pro, not SLE Pro, the Sierra Pro, that is going to look just like our current interiors do in the base truck. So I think it's going to be a 7-inch color touchscreen. Definitely still going to have the column shifter. More basic. It looks basically just like our normal 2022s do right now, at least in the inside. Remains to be seen what the outside is going to look like, and remains to be seen what the outside of the Elevation and the regular SLE are going to look like as well. Because again, as I mentioned, we've seen the Denali Ultimate and the AT4X, and we are now going to head over and talk about the Sierra Denali Ultimate. All right, so this Denali Ultimate, as they say, is the ultimate. This thing is going to come with everything basically standard and then some in terms of what you should expect or want in a truck. As I already mentioned, it's going to have all the interior things I mentioned in terms of all the touchscreens and all that connectivity. But as far as the interior itself, we finally have a unique, nicely stitched, different looking, different colored leather interior with some amazing touches. You have open pore wood in this, which, because it says open pore wood, it's going to have a different look in every single truck. The design is not going to be the same in every truck in terms of how that wood grain is going to look. They've also got some pretty cool features inside that truck as well. Etched into the wood, they have got the topographical map of Mount Denali, which is the highest mountain in North America. Not to mention they have some stuff on the seats as well. They have the actual geographical location of it and stuff. So it's pretty cool. They even have, when you start up the Denali Ultimate, it actually comes up with this cool thing on the screen that shows the Denali Mountain. So, I mean, they've left no stone unturned. And by the way, some other things it's going to come with standard. It's going to come with a 12-speaker center point surround sound Bose stereo system. And I have sat in a surround sound Bose stereo system in the Escalade, but pardon me, not the Escalade, in the XT6. It is flipping phenomenal. So I'm excited to see this in the truck. By the way, it's going to also have like stainless steel grille speaker covers for the Bose stereo system as well. So that's a really cool, really cool touch on the inside of this truck. Also inside, aside from the cool looking leather, it's going to have a 16-way power positional seat with massaging. This is standard, massaging seats. We've seen that in the Cadillac Escalade, right? But now we're seeing this in the Denali Ultimate to take it up a notch. It also even has a suede headliner. Again, something we're seeing currently in the high-end Cadillacs, the XT6s and the Cadillac Escalades and so on. It's also going to come with standard 22-inch aluminum wheels on the outside, and standard is also going to come in the box. It's going to be the carbon fiber box that we've seen in the Carbon Pro trim levels. That's going to be a standard in the Denali Ultimate. Oh, and about those massaging seats that I just talked about, they're going to be standard in the all-new AT4X as well, and let's get into talking about that. Now, as you know, I was really excited with the introduction of the ZR2 in the Chevy Silverado lineup, and I am just as excited about the AT4X. However, if I had the choice, I'm not sure if I would go with the AT4X over the ZR2, and I'll tell you my reason why. I just don't feel like it has as aggressive an exterior as we see on the ZR2. What are your thoughts on that? That's just what I'm thinking. I really think that they could have done a bit more to make it a bit more aggressive, but I also understand they're trying to keep the GMC a little more polished. So we're not having as aggressive of a front bumper as we see on the ZR2, but we are getting many, and pretty much all the other things that the ZR2 has, and let's kind of list some of those right now. First and foremost, though, it's going to be they're going to be 18-inch black aluminum wheels wrapped by Goodyear Wrangler Duratrack tires. Best of my knowledge, I think they were talking a Territory tire for the ZR2. So a little bit of a difference there. We are, though, going to have the Multimatic DSSV suspension underneath, that dual spool suspension. What an amazing suspension. If you've ever had the opportunity to ride or drive a Colorado ZR2, it is just out of this world, and I'm really excited to see that coming to the full-size trucks. You're going to have a little more skid plates underneath as well. You're also going to have the red tow hooks in front. But as far as features, you're going to have a terrain mode. You're going to have one pedal shift. Oh, and how about the big thing that we liked in the ZR2? You're going to have front and rear locking differentials. This is all going to be powered, by the way, by the 6.2 liter V8, 420 horsepower, 460 foot-pound of torque, and the best of my knowledge, that is the only option right now. It is also going to come standard, though, with that 12-speaker sound system that I just talked about in the Denali Ultimate. It's also going to have the massaging seats, that 16-way positional seat, the massaging seats as well, all the electronics as well, and it has its own kind of unique interior. You can see here from the video and from pictures, it's got its own unique interior as well. And speaking of interior, remember when I was telling you in previous videos months ago about how I was saying that it's going to have a ceramic white and black interior? I kind of didn't lie. I kind of was right, because it's mainly black, but you can see the piping is ceramic white. So, I was right, but I was wrong at the same time. But anyways, as far as the AT4X, again, you're going to have, different badging on the outside. And again, it has a little more, a little more aggressive look, but again, it doesn't take away, the bumpers and things like that, like we're seeing in the ZR2 as its competitor, I guess you would say. And they're also saying that the wheel travel is actually going to be increased with the new AT4X. They're saying that wheel travel is increased in the front by 50 millimeters and another 25 millimeters in the rear, and that's because it's got unique springs that increase that travel. Now, as far as engines and as far as what we know, they're still going to retain the current 5.3 DFM that we have. They're still going to, of course, have the 6.2. I just talked about that for the AT4X. Of course, outgoing is the 6-cylinder. Outgoing is the older style 6-speed 5.3 liter active fuel management. So we just have the dynamic fuel management offering for the 5.3 now. And there is upgrades coming for the 2.7 liter 4-cylinder turbo, which I've mentioned in previous videos. I mentioned in the Chevy Silverado videos. It is going to have a torque increase of 20%, bumping the torque up of a 2.7 liter 4-cylinder motor to 420 foot-pound of torque, which is pretty phenomenal. Not to mention, in the two-wheel drive configuration, it's going to pull up to 9,600 pounds. And then over to one of my favorite engines by far, the 3-liter Duramax, or Baby Max diesel, like we like to call it. That one, not really much changes in the motor itself, but they are going to offer it with a max tow package, which I know many of you are going to be excited about, myself included. And that's going to bump it up 4,000 pounds in towing. So now in the two-wheel drive configuration, that'll allow you to pull 13,200 pounds. Interestingly, they said the Chevy Silverado was 13,300 pounds with the Duramax. So there must be a 100-pound weight difference somewhere between the Sierra and Silverado two-wheel drives. But regardless, a massive increase in the ability to have that max tow package, which is exciting. And as I promised, let's get into talking about what the pricing is actually going to look like right from the Pro Series all the way up on the new refreshed trucks. And before I get to that really quickly, I also want to mention that the trucks themselves are probably going to fall in line just like we are with the Chevy Silverados, where you're going to be able to get these in the spring of 2022. I know in the States you can reserve them online. In Canada, that's not an option, but you can reserve at your dealers. I've already taken a few AT4X orders before people even saw the truck at our dealership, some deposits to hold those in line. So, but as far as the pricing goes, let's start with the Sierra Pro. So the Sierra Pro pricing will start off at $32,495 US dollars. We go next to the SLE, that's $43,895. Then the Elevation, $45,495. The SLT is $50,895. The AT4 is $60,995. The Denali is $61,295. Now the two new trucks, here's where we get some interesting pricing. If we look talking about the AT4X, we're talking about $74,995 starting price in American funds. And then we go to the Denali Ultimate at $80,000 so $80,395. What is your take on all of these trucks, or the trucks I've mentioned today? Of course, when they come out with the Elevation or the SLE, I will definitely be sharing videos and pictures of that as soon as I possibly can. If you made it this far in the video, why don't you hit that subscribe though, because I'm always going to be bringing you new information on these trucks and walk-arounds and tips and tricks when I do have them in my hands as well. But listen, as always, I'd love to hear your comments below, but thanks so much for watching. Until next time, take care.